Fantastic Four: The First Steps. This is the third reboot of the Fantastic Four, if you include the 1994 Fantastic Four film that was technically completed but never released, which I do consider that to be part of that, because there actually is a physical copy moving around. I actually have a physical copy in my collection, but moving on. This film pretty much takes place on Earth 858. Like Superman, has it opening with the credits telling us they've been around doing this for about 4 years or 3 years now. They are established. We have it pretty much it tells us more than it shows us. What kind of shows us in a montage. Before the trip to space, after the space trip, a couple other villains that they fought in their early years, and then now, and this cultural impact that they have to the world, because they are, in their Earth, the only superheroes, apparently. Now, the film pretty much really starts and picks up with an intermission from space that is given by the Silver Surfer, intercept these messages, and in the midst of all this, Reed and Sue find out they're pregnant with a baby. As seen in the trailers, this is not a spoiler. This is a spoiler-free review. So, opening up the entire film pretty much is not them discovering their powers as an origin film, but really showing us who they are and why we should root for them. The pacing of the film was actually pretty good. I mean, this being my second viewing, I find myself liking the film more this time around than the first. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that knowing what happens and kind of being able to just enjoy it without expecting so much from it, I think really helped me enjoy it more. And just to kind of touch base on that, I think one of the biggest issues with a lot of the Marvel movies coming out more recently is that, and myself included in this, is the expectation so high because we're expecting so much more to happen. And these standalone films, I think, don't have aren't given the time, are being judged unfairly, and that's me too. I feel like the first time I saw it, I was expecting so much more from it. But again, the second time around, I found myself enjoying it a lot more. The aesthetics of it is set in the 60s. You have it's a futuristic film, but it has like the civilization of the 60s, which really works for the film. I wasn't sure I was going to like that aspect, but it turns out it really works. And as far as just the overall film goes, I mean, the script is phenomenal. You have a lot of witty dialogue and humorous moments throughout the film, and they have this perfect balance between dramatic moments and these witty dialogue, and even the humor in there is well placed in the sense that you have more like adult jokes that kids aren't going to get, but ones that are not pushing it over that line of PG-13. And you have these comedic moments, but they're blended so well in the film that they don't come off as tongue-in-cheek. You have a great, and what I found was just a great chemistry amongst the actors, and you really kind of get behind this film. I was a fan of the original Fantastic Four film, well, the 2000s Fantastic Four films, with Chris Evans and Jessica Biel, and Jessica Alba. And I love those films. So when they rebooted it in 2018, I wasn't a huge fan of that. I wanted to love it, but I just wasn't a huge fan. This one, I feel like they definitely have something there, and I think this did get some mixed reviews kind of coming in, but I think in retrospect, in a few years, we're going to look back on this film very fondly, more fondly than it's being looked at now. I think a lot of that is because of the fog and gaze of a post-Endgame world or post-Endgame cinematic experience where we're expecting every film to kind of be this grand film. And even the earlier Marvel films definitely, I think, weren't as big. Well, I know they weren't as big, like the early Phase 1, and I think that gave it more time for the films to kind of grow and build. And by the time it became this huge phenomenon, they already had so much more backstory and so many more moving pieces to build up to a bigger story that it felt more grand. But overall, I'd definitely give Fantastic Four a full price. If you're going to see this, pay full price. You're not going to be disappointed. Again, just remember this is not an origin film, nor is it a film that is embodied into a series of films. Yes, they're making a sequel. They announced at the end, no spoilers, of course, that the Fantastic Four will return for Avengers Doomsday, which, again, not a spoiler. I mean, Doctor Doom is a Fantastic Four villain. I mean, he is the title character of Avengers Doomsday, so it's not a spoiler alert. Although I do feel, though, that part of my problem isn't when I said with the movie, it's just Marvel's marketing. What are your thoughts? Comment below. Let me know.